Well, last Saturday dawned unseasonably cold in Rockhaven. I believe I heard that out at the University Extension field office on the Blueberry Farm it was 5 below zero, but here in town it was above zero. It was one of those days where the sun was shining and very, very little wind. Beautiful, beautiful day. A great day for the 25th annual Josiah W. McPherson Ice Fishing Derby that was held out on Hobbs Pond. You see, old Josiah was a bachelor woodsman. And in the 1940s, he built a little camp on Timber Point on the west shore of Hobbs Pond. It was in later years that he would invite all the kids of the community to come out to his camp and do some ice fishing. That was back when you had to carry your supplies, your traps, and all your gear across the lake, 2 miles on ice, or sometimes it might be a foot of snow on the ice, depending on the year. Josiah would drill the holes, supply the tip-ups and the bait, and have a roaring fire going, and all the hot dogs you could eat. Of course, roasted on a stick that you whittled yourself from a bush along the shore of the lake. And many a son and daughter were given their first jackknife for just such an occasion. Well, old Josiah's been gone now for, I guess 30 years. Our community was rather surprised to learn that when old Josiah died, that he had a rather sizable estate, a good portion of which he left in an endowment that was to be used to provide college scholarships for the community's children. A couple of years after Josiah's death, some of the folk in Rockhaven got together and they decided to have an ice fishing derby in Josiah's memory. And it was so popular that they just did it the next year. And then, eventually, the Rockhaven Recreational Club, the Youth Recreational Club, took it on as an annual event. And as I said, this year's was the 25th. Now, we've noticed some changes in the ice fishing derby over the years. Today, you will see a lot more kids and their parents with cross-country skis rather than snowmobiles. Instead of a huge bonfire in front of Josiah's old camp, now owned by Randall Stearns, B. and Melvin's son, gone are the days of the roaring campfire. Now there are gas grills. They're more environmentally friendly, you know. They used to prepare lunch, and while red hot dogs are still on the menu, unfortunately they're turned with tongs and not roasted on whittled sticks. An occasional steak will find its way onto one of the grills, along with, those vegetables that are cooked in foil. Lots of butter, peppers, onions, potatoes. And then there was the beer. Someone thought it would be a good idea to try beer can chicken. Except they were reminded that this was a youth event. And it probably would be more appropriate to use soda, so they called it cola can chicken. Another thing, we're seeing more and more people using these little sawed-off fishing poles. And they're out there leaning over their holes in the ice like monks deep in prayer. Even the tip-ups are new and improved. No longer the old homemade single stick that is stuck into the ice beside the hole. But there are these 3-dimensional things with a reel that sits underwater, and some have even tried attaching a waterproof game camera to them. And some have even proposed using a radio-controlled bait, artificial bait, with a little camera attached to it, so they can see where it's going. But that quickly was ruled out by the Derby, along with the use of ice fishing shacks. Oh no sirree. We're roughing it with our gas grills and our LLB polyfill thermoline power stretch base layer and our Gore-Tex covered Weather Challenger outerwear. We're roughing it. But the most notable change over the years has been one for the better. We are seeing more and more young girls with their dads and moms with their sons. This year, some of the adults who were called out to be the local fishing experts were, among others, were Danny Killington and Jed Carlisle got the day off from plowing snow, and Joe closed his barber shop and he was there, and Leslie and Jerome Jordan, they're the co-chairs of the Recreation Club this year. Along with Peter Warren. Peter, you remember, he's the alternative high school teacher, along with Jake Bradley's right hand for the church suppers. New this year was Sergeant Sally McFaig, the local game warden. She was there handing out these little junior game warden badges for any child that could show her that they could rig up a tip-up and put a bait on the hook. And then later on in the day, she gave rides in her warden's ATV, equipped with lights and siren. It was more of a hit than the badges. There were about 30 or 40 people to the Derby, including adults. As usual, the local merchants donated several items to be used for prizes. A dozen bakery items of the winner's choice from Holgram's Bakery in town. Harbor Hardware gave a tackle box with all sorts of assorted hooks and sinkers and lures. And Mason's Pharmacy, knowing that there might be some young ladies out there doing some ice fishing, they donated a set of 6 Thai Beanie Baby stuffed animals. And then, but the grand prize was a dozen minnows each week for the entire ice fishing season. From Wally's Fish Market and Bait Shop. I mean, what 8 or 9-year-old wouldn't pass by the Beanie Babies to go right for the bait? Oh yes, and each participant got a small bag filled with pencils, pens, and little notepads, all imprinted Coleridge Digging and Construction. Your hole is our goal. Sam Coleridge, P.O. Box 235, Rockhaven. Old Sam, not to let an opportunity go by. Anyway, amongst the families that were out that day was Perry Packard and his granddaughter, Jessica's girl, Samantha. You remember Perry. Perry's the owner and proprietor of Packard's Garage and Towing out south of town, on the road heading out of town. Samantha, or Sammy, as her granddad calls her, is an articulate 9-year-old, thoughtful young lady. She appreciates beauty, and her interests span far beyond Beanie Babies and Barbies. Her granddad, on the other hand, is an avid old-school fisherman. He has a bass boat with a 200-horsepower Merc cruiser. He has a collection of fishing tackle that rivals the museum collection at the Bass Pro Show. And he has his own ice shack. And he keeps his not on Hobbs Pond, but over on Franklin Lake, where there are landlocked salmon and lake trout to be caught. Hobbs Pond is great for kids, he says, but a serious fisherman like Perry, they won't waste their time there. Unless, of course, you have a cute, dark-eyed, ponytail granddaughter pleading with you to take her to the ice fishing derby. So there they found themselves just off Timber Point, where the bottom drops off into the deeper part of the lake, tending 3 or 4 tip-ups. Perry insisted that at least they use his own high-tech tip-ups. It was quiet throughout the morning. They had a couple of flags, as they called them. They pulled up one little perch and lost the bait on another. They had just finished their lunch. Sammy had some of those potatoes and onions and peppers cooked in the foil, and Granddad Perry's more of a traditionalist. He scarfed down 3 of the red hot dogs. You know, the ones long enough to hang out over both ends of the bun. He noticed that the sun was disappearing behind a high layer of clouds. And as the afternoon wore on, the clouds were lowering. "A storm is coming," he announced to his granddaughter. "Fish bite best before the storm. Got to make sure our bait is fresh and active." Sammy squirmed at the idea of checking the bait. It was bad enough that they had to use minnows that were still alive. To think that they were down there trying to swim around with a hook through their back was not something she had expected to be part of fishing. All was good at the first tip-up they checked. Minnow was still lively, depth about right. And as they were making their way out to the farthest one, suddenly the flag sprung up. And they noticed that after the flag went up, the tip-up slid across the hole to the edge. When they got there, they could see the line zipping off the reel down under the water towards the deeper water, part of the pond. Perry cautioned Sammy, "Be patient, let it run." Stopped for a moment, and just as Perry was reaching for the tip-up, zing, off it went again. And then when just about all of the 100 feet of line was out, it stopped. Perry carefully pulled the reel up out of the water, took the line in his hand, and gave it a quick jerk. Set the hook. And then he passed the line to Sammy, and the game was on. She would pull and she would tug, and then she'd let it slip back through her hands according to her grandfather's instructions. What seemed like 30 minutes to Sammy was actually more like 5 when Sammy and her granddad caught the first glimpse of what was at the end of their line. It was enormous. Perry caught just enough of it as it flipped its side under the hole. It was a pike. One that even Captain Ahab would have told stories about. Suddenly, Perry found himself thinking about that grand prize. 12 minnows every week. But more than this, what this beauty would look like mounted and hanging over the desk in his little office at his garage. Back and forth it went under the ice. Perry had everything he could do not to take the line from Sammy. But he knew for a fish to count in the derby, a youth had to pull it through the ice. Finally, the pike took a flip, just as it came to the hole, and Sammy, with seeing her opportunity, lifted her arms way over her head, out the fish came and flopped onto the ice. It was the most massive and the most beautiful fish she'd ever seen. Perry let slip a couple of colorful adjectives, to which Samantha looked at him and said, "Granddad." Perry helped her lay the pike out on the ice to get a good look at it. It truly was a beauty. Sammy marveled at its magnificence. Perry let out a low whistle. "Look, Granddad, look at the colors. So bright out here in the light. Imagine, this is the first time this fish has ever seen light like this. Look at those eyes, Granddad. Imagine the knowledge of the deep places of the lake in those eyes." Like I said, Samantha was an articulate and thoughtful girl for her age. And then they came. The words Perry half expected but dreaded. The words he feared at that moment more than any others. "Granddad, we need to let it go." Perry wanted to cry out, "No, no, no! This is the grand prize winner. This may be the biggest fish ever caught in 25 years at the ice fishing derby. No, no, we can't do that." But he didn't say that. The vision of the monster mounted and hanging in his garage office was fading, like the afternoon sun. To him, it was a trophy and a story waiting to be told and embellished upon over the years. To Sammy, it was one of God's special creatures, of so much more value than a dozen minnows a week for a fishing season. Perry knew it would be okay to keep the fish. If he really wanted to push the matter. After all, it was caught legally. It was way over the size limit. And the God Perry prayed to every time he went fishing would certainly understand. but it was love. It was love that reached down and gently removed the hook from the toothy jaw. It was love that reached under the massive fish with the brilliant marking and the dark eyes, and with his granddaughter slide the prize-winning pike through the hole to return to the haunts of Hall's Pond. Love won out over knowledge, as it should. St. Paul, who wasn't a fisherman like Peter and Andrew, wrote, "We know that all of us possess knowledge, but knowledge puffs up. Love builds up." Perry and Samantha went home that afternoon with something that would remain with their relationship much longer than a dusty old pike hanging on a wall. The memory of a day fishing with grandfather and granddaughter that will be fixed in their memories forever. For the special relationship, respect, and love between them ran as deep as the pike's home in the dark places of Hall's Pond. Sure, there will be days when Perry will wonder how he let the big one get away and didn't even take a photo of it. But he also knew that for today, something much bigger and more important didn't